What up, guys? That Comic Awesome here, doing another review, doing Astonishing X-Men number 9. I'm going to do this review a little bit different because there's two halves to this story. There's the half with the X-Men, and then there's the half with Proteus, which I find far more interesting. So I'm gonna go over the X-Men parts, but I'm gonna focus on the Proteus parts. So the story thus far, catching everyone up. Charles Xavier was stuck in the Astral Plane. He convinced Phantom X to trade places with him, essentially. By doing that, he came back. He is no longer Charles Xavier. He is X. I'm going to use a lot of air quotes. And X is kind of a dick. He definitely does not seem like the Charles Xavier that we all know and love. So, when he came back out, he also released Proteus, he was stuck there. Anyone who doesn't know Proteus, he is a mutant who is like a being of like pure energy and can like kind of alter reality, but he requires like the absorption of energy, and his one weakness is metal. So at the end of the last issue, Psylocke and X went in to kind of confront Proteus, or Kevin, in kind of like in his mind, essentially, and he essentially just wanted a truce. He said, "Look, I'm not going to kill anybody. I don't want to hurt anybody. I just want to live. Every time, I went to live, I was always confronted by the X-Men, and I've been killed and, battled, and I just want to live." At which point, X pulls out some guns and some bad things happen. Which I'm going to kind of, literally what I just said, is so poorly communicated, and I apologize, but it's also just about the same way that it's communicated in the catch-up page, which I will show you. So let's kind of get in. At the end of the last issue, X and Psylocke were like fused into some weird reality trap. We're gonna skip that. Needless to say, they got out. They got out. I don't know why that just made me think of old school. We stuck you in a dumpster, didn't we? I got out. But yeah, so here's the catch-up page, and it's just like, at which point, X pulls out these guns, and Proteus, gravely disappointed in them, both used his mutant abilities to trap the heroes in a mind-bending reality storm. I'm not a good communicator. The fact that you guys out there watch me deserve medals, because for the number of times that I say and which Space Knight has pointed out to me, that again, not a good communicator. I have a lot of thoughts in my head, and my mouth is just a jumbly mess when it comes to that. But this seems like something I would write. I'm not a skilled writer or communicator by any means, but somehow I could probably still be an editor, over here at Marvel, because again, this is about how I would ramble on about the story. Don't mess with Kevin. So yeah, that's that. Let's get to, again, I want to focus on just the Proteus story. So they're in London. The X-Men had their encounter in London. So now this is in Scotland, where two buddies, one and his lady and their buddy, are all at the pub having a good old time, talking all Irish like. They're not Irish, Scottish like. That's a little bit better. Sorry if I offended any Scots out there. When all of a sudden, a glowy green man shows up, and he's like, "Hey, my name's Proteus. I want to give you what you want." And that's it. Kind of creepy. So now we're going to skip a couple more pages. Boom. Okay. And this is where we get into the socialist experiment. And I think it's funny because that's exactly what this is. And it's funny because it shows that it doesn't work. So Proteus essentially has come into this Scottish town, and he's like, look, I want to do a little experiment. You know, I want to make this town my little testing area. He's like, I'm going to do that by giving everyone here exactly what they want. They can have anything they want. And he's like, I'm going to prove it. So he asks this little girl, he's like, you know, little girl, what do you want? He's like, anything. He's like, oh, my mom said I couldn't have a doggy. Like, I just want to love a doggy. And then, boom, doggy appears. And she's like, oh my gosh, I love a doggy. So he's like, look, so to prevent anyone from messing with us, you know, he builds a wall around this town. And he's like, and even though there are, you know, we have an impenetrable wall, we need defenses. So he kind of, you know, puts up some monsters and some demon riders, I guess, on the outside. At which point, like, if this were happening, I'd be like, we're walled in, like, I should be concerned. So then he goes on to explaining, like, the difference between real and not real. He's like, imagine there's a storehouse that housed everything that ever would and ever will be and ever was. And when you went into that storehouse and you got something, you know, say there's a toy in there, and you went into the storehouse and you got the toy you wanted and you played with it, at that point, that toy is real. But once you put it back in the storehouse, it's no longer real. Like the storehouse, whatever's in the storehouse. So he's like saying here, he's like, you know, he's like, anything that's real is what is created and that we're being used. So he's like, I want to give, you know, I want to give everyone the ability to have whatever it is they want, like from that storehouse. So he touches him, and then there's a big old explosion at the town. And let's see. Okay. So again, all of a sudden he's like, okay, now we can get started. So he obviously gave the people in that town the ability to, the same ability. So then the three friends are still sitting here. He's like, and the one, he's like, I can have anything I want, eh? Well, you know what I've wanted? Cullum, which is the other guy. He's like, near on every day. He's like, what's that, Errol? Who's this guy? He's like, whatever you want to be real is real. Oh, that was from Mystique. And he's like, her, Cullum. I want Sophie. I always have, which means I want you gone. Boom! And he just explodes him. So, right there proves that in a socialist society where you are given things and you can have anything, you will always want what somebody else has. And to prevent other people from having what you want, you would have to destroy them. Again, this definitely, at least in my opinion, illustrates the faults and the comeuppance of a social society. And it only took like 30 minutes. You know, I'm gonna say between Proteus coming into town and pretty much giving them that ability, we'll say 2 hours. So within 2 hours, there is now already a murder, and I can only think of the ramifications that are going to be coming after that. Which then, obviously, the X-Men are going to have to step in and take charge. But yeah, that's my thoughts. Subscribe over here, watch some more videos, hit me up in the comments, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you next time.